Welcome back to another riveting episode of Women in the Making. This is a very special episode and I don't want you to go anywhere. Get your soda, get your tea, get your coffee and hear us out. I am so excited to speak with the remarkable Valerie Glozman, a rising star in the world of tennis. Valerie, at the age of 17, is number one ranked recruit in the country and the highest ranked recruit attending college with a world tennis number of 8.0. She has won back-to-back Easter Bowl titles in 2022 and 23 and helped Team USA win the Junior Billie Jean King Cup in 22. She has also competed in the US Open Women's qualifying in 2022 and 23. With a passion for the game and a drive to succeed, she has not only conquered the courts but is also paving the way for future generations of athletes. Valerie, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Valerie, you started playing tennis at the age of 5. You know, my little guy is 5 and he has no idea what he's going to do. So that's pretty young that you began your career. So I'm assuming that your family had a big influence on your growth.
Oh yeah, definitely. From the start, both of my parents are pretty athletic, so they picked it up in high school. They were never at a super high level or anything, but they did do league tennis and they were pretty good, just very athletic people. And my older sister, who's 7 years older than me, she had been playing for a while already just because she learned from my parents, obviously. And then my dad is both of our main coaches, so I kind of just picked it up and followed in my sister's footsteps there, yeah.
That's amazing. I also heard that your dad is a physics teacher.
Yeah.
And he is primarily your only coach so far.
I mean, I've had a lot of mentors in the past, but I would definitely classify him as my main coach, yeah.
So what is his perspective when he's training you? Because it's really hard to even believe that, you know, as a parent, you are coaching your own child because you also have so many rules and regulations and you have to be so strict about that particular game, especially when you know that this is going to be a career for you. So tell me a little more about your dad and like what his whole physiology is over here.
Well, he just likes to learn a lot. He's pretty smart. He's a bright guy. So he watches a lot of YouTube videos and he's not a formal coach or anything. He hasn't really coached anyone outside of the family. But, you know, he's always willing to learn. So he's constantly like watching videos and just watching matches and learning from other people. And then it's a lot of trial and error between us.
It's incredible.
Yeah. And obviously there's been quite a bit of fighting in the past. Like it's hard to get along with the parent. But I think over time we've just realized that we kind of had the same goals and values, and it's been a lot easier in the recent years to get along, and we haven't really had any issues there. And there's like a certain sense of trust, you know, and relationship. And
I love that.
He knows me like on and off the court, so he kind of knows like how to give information to me. Yeah.
I know emotionally, you know, when you're on the court, it can be very challenging, intimidating. You know, what is your perspective when you landed on the court for the first time? Do you have memories of that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, in my very first match, it was really scary because I remember I went out there, I think 5 years old, and I was playing in the 10 and under. So it was already a girl who was like 10 years old.
Wow.
And she was like double my height. And I remember my first few tournaments, I actually I was a pretty scared child, so I would actually run away from the matches when I like saw someone who was intimidating for me.
Of course.
And that took a lot of talking sessions with my parents and like for them to explain that that's not a good quality.
So under the age of 10, you were 5 years old.
Yes.
That is mesmerizing. I can't even imagine how even that heavy racket would do wonders for you. Do you have any other memory of any other matches that left like a huge impact on your mind?
There were quite a few matches. I mean, I really do learn from every single match. I never enjoyed losing, obviously. And I think just the more I won matches, the more I actually wanted to commit to the sport. You know, it gave me a lot of hope there. But, you know, every match that you lose, it's a very painful experience. So you really want to learn from that and get back out on the practice court. So I don't know that I had any, there are definitely, better matches in the past, but I don't know that I could pinpoint any specific match that was like a huge turning point, like at a younger age. I can definitely talk about, tournaments that helped boost my career and everything, but yeah.
That's incredible. So while growing up, I know it's a really hard balance, especially when you're a sports person, to balance your academics and also make a prosperous growth in your sports career.
Yeah.
How difficult or easy was it for you to navigate all of that?
It was pretty difficult, just in the sense that a lot of people go homeschooled from an early age, and I debated it at one point in middle school, just because a lot of my peers were traveling so much, and I just didn't have a ton of time to do that, and I wasn't able to go out and play at national tournaments just because of my school schedule. But I just realized that I really enjoy being in person, and I learn a lot better that way, and I can interact with peers, like not necessarily only on the tennis court. And so that was a big thing for me to stay here. But it's definitely been challenging, to travel. Even now, like, just because I'm in school, I do miss some big tournaments and opportunities there. But I just feel like it's actually helped me to be more motivated in the matches that I end up going to, just because it's not as frequent. It's not like I'm playing tournaments every single week. So when I go out there, I'm like, okay, this is my time to, prove myself and show off like what I've been working on in practice.
I love that.
Yeah.
Valerie, reaching the top ranking nationally is no small feat. And I'm going to read this out. Winchell Lombardi once said, the only place success comes before work is the dictionary. And I want to specifically talk about a match that you played last summer, which was the US Open qualifying match. So what exactly happened during the last few points of the match?
Yeah, so that was a crazy match. I actually wasn't playing great for the entire match. And I thought that, this is a huge tournament. Everyone in there is ranked super high, and this is like a high-level pro tournament. So I was just super excited for the opportunity to be out there, but I was also a little nervous because I was given a wild card into the tournament, so I felt like I had to prove myself. And a wild card is basically just like you're not ranked high enough, but they think that you can potentially do well. So
that's great.
You just get in, yeah. And so I really thought I had to prove myself there, so I got a little nervous, and I wasn't playing as well as I would have hoped. And I actually I felt that I could win the match, but it was just a really scary situation because I just I wasn't free to play my game. So I was down a set and match points, and I was down, I think 4-5, 15-40 in the match, which basically means that she has 2 match points. And I actually played 2 really great points under that pressure. And I think all I was telling myself was, just 1 point at a time. I was already kind of thinking oh, what would I feel like if I lost this match? It wasn't a good feeling. So I was like, you know what, I'm still in it though. And actually I learned from my peers because just the previous day I was watching one of my good friends competing, and she actually also saved a couple of match points. So that was fresh in my mind. So all I told myself was, just keep trying. We're not out of the match yet. And I played 2 really great points. Obviously, luck went in my favor a little bit too. And then it got to deuce, and I'm not exactly sure what happened. It was scary, but...
Was it just at the end that you had the deuce?
Yeah, end of that game, but it was still 4-5. So I managed to scrape out that game, and then 5-all, and then... I'm not exactly sure what happened right after that. I don't know who won the next game, but it got to 6-all, that tiebreak, and we had a fairly close tiebreak, and I ended up winning 7-5. Wow. And then after that, I kind of ran away with the third set. I ended up winning 6-1, but it was just all the adrenaline running, and I kind of found a higher level after that. But
congratulations, Valerie. You're doing so well. You're making our nation proud, making Seattle proud. We're so proud of all your accomplishments.
Thank you.
I want to understand, for somebody who's watching you today, there could be a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old. There's a lot that goes behind the bushes.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And to see her on the court, there's a lot that actually happens. And I know for a fact, because I was a state level basketball player.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
so there's a lot of emotions that run when you're on the field, on the ground, on that sport. But there's also a lot of controlled emotions that you have to face. You have
Yeah.
to face your fears.
Yeah.
You have to face your actions. And there are a lot of people watching you and cheering for you.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about how do you handle it all? And it's really hard. You're still 17. And you have such a long way to go. But at this point, you've reached so far. I want you to explain and tell somebody who's watching you, how do you do it?
I mean, I'm still learning right now. I definitely get really nervous if there's a large crowd or a lot at stake. And I know a lot of people do, but I think just the biggest thing for me is to tell myself that, it's just a sport. It's obviously, it doesn't feel like that all the time, but it's just a sport that I'm playing for fun. And, it's something that I really enjoy. So, and I've been practicing and I've worked on all my shots. So there's no reason that this moment should be any scarier than any practice day. And obviously it really doesn't feel like that in the moment, but you just have to keep reminding yourself that there's no lion chasing you down or anything, and this is supposed to be like a great moment for you. And I think if you just keep telling yourself these things, it's a lot easier to perform. And if you really do enjoy the sport you play, you should be totally fine. And I'm still learning that now, because sometimes I'll play matches where I'm not even enjoying it so much. And then I have to remind myself that I really do love the sport and there's a reason I'm playing, and it's given me so many opportunities. And what would I feel like if I didn't have the sport? So then I go back with a newfound sense of appreciation,
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. So tell us, who is your current role model in the world of tennis?
I have a lot. I mean, I learned from a lot of my peers that other people might not know because they're not famous yet. But in the professional world, I mean, I loved Ash Barty before she retired. She was a very smart player, and I feel like I try to be a smart player as well. I'm not the biggest hitter. But, I try to use the court to my advantage. So she was a big role model for me. I'm kind of trying to mimic her game in some ways. And then, obviously, the world number one, Iga, right now, she is just, such a great competitor. And she really works within her game. She tries to rush people. I
love her running abilities.
I know, and she's a great
she's
athlete.
Really swift.
So, yeah, it's really fun to watch her. And, I mean, I pretty much learn from every single person I watch, because a lot of people have good qualities, and a lot of people have totally different games but still do just as well. So it's just nice to see which qualities make it further, and I feel like a lot of it is the mind. So you don't even need to have a specific style, but as long as you're very engaged the whole time, and as long as you really want it, I feel like you can always find a way.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's so amazing to hear so well described stories about your career, and it's so inspiring to hear that we have a 17-year-old here with us who's making her name out and who's not only enjoying the sport, right? It's also making it as a future career. So it's very important that you're enjoying what you're doing.
Right, yeah.
Because unless you're really enjoying that sport, you're never going to really push yourself hard enough to push you into the success, right?
Yeah.
So I'm very excited about you. You're soon transitioning to the Stanford women's tennis team. Can you share thoughts about this next chapter of your story?
Oh, yeah. I'm super excited for this. Stanford has been my dream university for a really long time. When it started the college recruiting process, I definitely talked to a ton of schools, and I wasn't set on Stanford. And actually, it didn't seem like a possibility for a while because I wasn't yet playing too many national tournaments, so my name wasn't really out there yet. And I liked a lot of other schools, and everyone's obviously trying to sell you something, and there's so many great options out there, but I just remember I played this tournament when I was 11 years old at Stanford. It was the Zimmerman Johnson, and I actually won that tournament. But I really loved the campus, and I got to explore a little bit. Yeah. And since then, it's kind of been my dream university. And so I worked really hard to get in. I played some tournaments. I got lucky with the timing of those tournaments, and I did really well in them. So it kind of put my name on the map. And Stanford also does it a little differently, where you kind of have to wait on an application and then apply before you get in. Whereas other schools, they'll kind of get you in through tennis and then you apply afterwards. So it was just a lot of waiting and kind of uncertainty for a while, but then it was super rewarding when I finally got in, and I just love the team. I think everybody has the same values and is so hardworking, and then they also all are very smart people, and I just feel like it's a great community to be surrounded by.
Wow.
So I'm super excited. Yeah.
That's incredible, Valerie. Valerie, I loved listening to your stories about tennis and the way you play and the way you're scoring and the way your matches are glowing for you. So we hope and pray that this just keeps moving forward in your career. But in segment 3, I want to ask you a couple more questions beyond the world of tennis. Tell us something that you do for fun beyond tennis.
Oh yeah. I mean, when I first started tennis, actually, I didn't even love the sport at first. So I was like trying a bunch of different things growing up. I did gymnastics for like 6 years actually.
Wow.
And I did ice skating for a year. I did some soccer and I tried a ton of sports. Tennis just happened to be the one that stuck, I think, because my family, everyone in there played. So yeah, but I love doing a lot of different activities. I feel like it's very enjoyable to go back on the tennis court after doing a bunch of other stuff. So right now I enjoy doing art projects. I love to paint and draw.
Nice.
I also love like any outdoorsy activities. So I love hiking, water skiing, anything like tubing.
So we don't find Valerie at home
No.
other than doing art.
We try not to, no. During the summer I love traveling too. This summer I'm super excited because I'm going to Spain with one of my friends as our senior trip. So we'll be doing a lot of exploring there too. Yeah.
Well, I'm really jealous. When I was growing up in India, we had no opportunities like that.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that you all have those opportunities
Yes,
right
I
at
know.
your doorstep. We never got to travel except
Yeah.
other than traveling with my parents.
Right.
But school
Yeah.
opportunities were very, very dim and limited.
I know. I'm super grateful for this and I'm so excited for everything. Yeah.
That's wonderful. So tell me, how do you see yourself the next 5 or 10 years? What are your goals and aspirations? Are they only around tennis or are they beyond that?
No, definitely not only around tennis. I mean, I never actually planned to play professionally. I've received some amazing opportunities recently, and in the next year, I'll actually get a wild card into the qualifying of the Indian Wells Pro Tournament, which is a huge deal, and I'm super excited for that. But it was never my intention to just put all my eggs in one basket and go pro. So I've always been kind of on the college track. And I used to want to go into medicine, so something pre-med. Right now I'm kind of shifting towards maybe like a business entrepreneurship type thing. I'm not sure what I'm going to major in yet, but I think that's kind of the path I'm leaning towards right now. And I hope in a few years I'll have my own business or something, and at least I'll maybe have been in that world, maybe done some internships and just kind of see what I like to do.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's really nice. And I love the fact that you're already talking about entrepreneurship. And a lot of us, while growing up, were not sure where we are heading in life. So I love the fact that when somebody comes and tells me, like, hey, we know kind of where we are going to go, and we don't know where your path take you or but I think just the fact that you have some clarity of mind, you have some clarity of thought, and you have some clarity and some good intention in life, I know good success and good faith, everything comes back to you.
Thank you.
Valerie, we had such a great time chatting with you. I love your perspective and your clarity of thought and how your future is going to space for you. We are at the last segment, which is called the burning questions. They are quick and short and super fun.
Okay.
So the first question would be, if you wanted to play tennis with a tennis player from past or present, who would it be and why?
This probably won't be a common answer, but there's this up-and-comer named Mira Andreeva, and she just turned 17 like a couple of days ago, and she's making a huge splash in the professional scene. She's a really inspiring character, and she's just like has a very strong mind on the court, and it's crazy to see the transition from juniors to pros so suddenly, and she's already broken, I think, the top 20 or 30 now, so she's really doing amazing, and I'd love to play against her because I feel like I could pick up some of her experience and kind of learn from what she does, because I notice like whenever I play against someone who has certain qualities, I kind of latch on to some of those qualities, and hopefully it'll make me better. So yeah.
So do you watch a lot of tennis on your television?
We actually don't have tennis channel, so I didn't grow up watching it at all. Not until recently when I kind of got to see a few matches live when I've gotten to play a couple of pro
So
tournaments.
you had to be right on the field all the
Oh,
time
yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
watching. Because
Yeah.
I was almost about to ask you, Valerie, did you do stop, rewind, play forward, stop, rewind, play forward? But then the answer is no, because she did not have television.
No, yeah. I mean, I actually never enjoyed watching it before. I always just wanted to be on the court, but now I realize how valuable it is to watch, and I
It
feel
is.
like now that I can relate to them a little more, I feel like my
Mm-hmm.
level's a little higher, so they're not so out of reach. It's even more interesting to watch. So I
Sure.
love watching it now, yeah.
Yeah, I can totally understand about that. And tell me, what is one thing you wish more people knew about being a competitive tennis player?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure this is with any sport, but it's definitely a grind. It's really tough. You have to train really hard, and to the point that it's usually harder than the matches themselves. I know I've been to some really great training camps, but they really push you to your limits, and I feel like I'm going to throw up sometimes. It gets really tough. And also, when you're going to tournaments, it's really easy to feel kind of lonely because everyone's doing their own thing. It's a very individual sport,
Right.
and everyone's super competitive. So sometimes
It's
you can
not a
feel out
relay.
of place. Yeah, it's not always like a super loving environment, but you kind of have to realize that everyone's there to compete and they're like working hard for themselves. So you can do the same, and you just make sure to kind of surround yourself with like a good community of people who are on your side as well, so you don't feel so out of place. And for me, that was, you know, a few mentors, and especially my dad. I could always go to him to talk about
Right.
things, because I think that's a big thing. Like, a lot of people, you know, will burn out because they're training so hard and
Right.
don't necessarily have like a great group of people to surround themselves with. But if you're constantly like talking out your feelings and everything, it can be really helpful. Yeah.
It's so nice to see your
Yeah.
own parents as
Yeah.
a coach on the field
know,
every
yeah.
time supporting you. I love the fact that, you know, they're so supportive of the
Yes.
sport, and they're also a sports people. So
Yes.
it's really nice to have that experience while growing up. And then last question for you, what legacy do you want to leave in the world of tennis?
I think I would just say that you don't have to keep up with the Joneses, you know. I personally didn't travel all the time. I didn't go homeschooled. And I still would consider myself to be a pretty successful, at least junior tennis player. And so I think that a lot of people, you know, get caught up in what everyone else is doing and kind of just follow that in, even though it's not necessarily the best path for them. And I'm sure it's always great to pick up experience and travel. So if you have that opportunity and you want to do that, like, you should totally go for it. But everybody's different, so I would just recommend trying out different things. I personally actually do better when I balance my tennis with school and, you know, other
Yeah.
activities and hanging out with friends, because then it just makes
You're
everything
switching
more
your
enjoyable.
mind to multiple places, so
Yeah.
that helps you to probably focus more.
Yeah, definitely. Because sometimes I also experience a little bit of burnout if I'm playing too much, and then it becomes a little too mind numbing, you know? So it's, for me, it's really great to, you know, like, do a lot of different things. Yeah.
If somebody watching you today wants to learn how your daily regime looks like,
Yeah.
what do you want to tell them?
I mean, I'm just a normal person. I get up and I'll go to class. I'll get home and I try to do some fitness here and there. I'll do some hot yoga sometimes. I'll hang out with friends. I'm actually still working on this. I don't think I do enough fitness, and I'm actually a little bit injured right now, so I've been taking a few days off. But it's definitely a good idea to go out there and stretch. I've been learning stretching routines because before, when I didn't play as competitively, I fortunately didn't get injured, so I never learned the lesson to stretch. But that's definitely a big thing. And then just when I go on the court, I usually have limited time because, especially here, we don't have outdoor courts, so we
Yes.
have to book sessions, and sometimes they're a little shorter than you would want. So I just know that I have to be pretty efficient when I go out and make sure that I switch my focus to tennis, and I'm not thinking about, you know, what happened in school or the tests I just had. And so I can just learn what I can, pick things up really fast. So it's really important to switch your attention to whatever you're doing,
Yeah.
so you can be 100% engaged. And, you know, if you're not having a good day, it's not a crime to go out and just take a break for a little bit or do other things.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
maybe not having a good day, maybe smash the court,
I know maybe that's not a good idea, but yeah.
smash the ball.
Yeah, for sure.
I would totally do that. I remember playing basketball while growing up, and I've had a bad mood. I would just take the ball and stand at the line and like see how many baskets can I go in for.
Yeah.
So that was my frustration, but everybody is different.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming here, Valerie. It was such a beautiful chatter with you, and I really wish you the best of career and future. And we really hope you can make all of us more proud than you already have.
Thank you so much for having me. This was amazing.
Thank you, Valerie, for sharing your incredible journey with us today. Your dedication and passion for tennis are truly inspiring, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors. Remember, no dream is too big to chase, and with hard work and perseverance, anything in this world is possible. Join us next time on Women in the Making as we continue to celebrate remarkable women, remarkable girls breaking barriers and making history. Until then, stay empowered and keep making waves. Don't forget to share, follow, and subscribe. Thank you.